Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel, and if you're new here, thanks for joining me. I'm Katie and today I'm painting my beloved dog Chester. The materials I'm using are the Daniel Smith dot card as well as Sennelier neutral tint. And the paper I'm using is botanical paper by St Cuthbert's Mill, which is one of my favourite papers to work on. It's a hot press, smooth surface, and that's just what I wanted for this. I'd already pre-sketched this out because I wanted it to be quite accurate, and doing it underneath the camera on my flat desk would not have made a very good picture. It would have warped, it would have looked funny, and I would have been moving it all around on screen just to try and get it right, so I just chose not to and just decided to go straight in there. For the first layer of paint I used the neutral tint, and that was just to make sure I'd got some good tonal variation before I went in there with that colour. And I've not used neutral tint before, I thought I'd give it a try, and I actually really like the results. It didn't interfere too much with the colour I put on top, but then it's a neutral tint, it's not supposed to, is it? I've done one or two pet portraits in the past and I thought it was about time I did my own, and I suppose if I can offer you any hints and tips is to not just paint it all one colour, if whatever animal it is you're painting as one colour, and just map out those tonal areas first and then add everything else on top. That's my advice anyway. I'm sure we've all got different ways of working, but if you're a bit daunted by doing a pet portrait, I tend to think just get those shadows and highlights in first and then start adding the fur details and other details around it afterwards. So my dog is a cockapoo, and that means he's half cocker spaniel and half poodle, and usually they tend to have curlier fur, but they can come out all different shapes and sizes, and he's quite a chunk for his breed. He towers above any other cockapoo I've met, and sometimes he gets mistaken for a labradoodle puppy. He has quite fine fluffy hair, and I wanted to show that in this painting. I know he kind of looks a bit scraggly, but he had been running around in wet grass, and that also needed to be taken into consideration with this picture too. By avoiding just using one colour for the whole thing and adding all of those other different tones in there that are part of his colour, I like to think I created a bit more of a 3D effect, and also there's a bit of movement in that as well. It's like the painting is interacting with the viewer, which is something I do like to do. I think if I can give you any advice for painting fur, at least like Chester's, is to just go in there with lots of light layers and then build up those darker details over the top, I guess like you would with a watercolour anyway, but use a very fine brush, do a little test with a different colour if you're onto the next colour that you're using, and then go in there with a darker tone if you think it's the right match. If you just do a tiny little bit, just as a little colour match on there, or obviously if you swatch on the side, but if you're not feeling that organised, if you just do a tiny little bit, see if it matches, then carry on with it until you work onto the next layer. But if not, don't worry, if you've only used a tiny inconspicuous amount, it's not going to show up, or it's barely going to show up. The photo I worked from was taken by my husband, and it's one of my most favourite photos of my dog, and again I just thought it would make a great subject for this painting. Have any of you got pets? Let me know in the comments below, and to any of my arty friends on here, have you tried to do a portrait of them before, and how did you find it, and what medium did you use as well? Now this is only a short video, but if you have made it this far, could you write Chester is a good boy in the comments, and then I can tell him he's a good boy. He already knows he is, but you know, having a few other people telling him would be nice. Part of me was tempted to just half do this in watercolour and half do this in coloured pencil, but I actually wanted to see how far I could push this before resigning to using coloured pencils, and I managed to do the whole thing without, which was good because it was quite a good learning experience for me as well. Anyway, we are pretty much all done. The signatures are on, the masking tape's coming off, and there we have it. If you have enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. If you're new here, why not subscribe? And I hope you all enjoyed this, and thank you for watching. I'll see you on the next one. Bye!